Welcome back, college baseball fans, to another episode of the College Baseball Show, brought to you by Just Baseball Media and 6'4 Analytics. I'm your host, Mark Gunn, brought to you by with my two other guys that are here again. Day 3 of the World Series. We're going to recap this thing. Jason from 6'4 Analytics, how we doing, my friend?
That was a phenomenal game. That was one where, I think a lot of times we're going into the 8th and we kind of have like a pretty good feeling what's going to happen. That was one where, you're in the top of the 9th and you've got the runner, the tying run that's up the base with only one out. Like you're kind of expecting anything. West Virginia coaches came over to us and said, like, we got to beat Glauber one of these times. So, it's an exciting time to be watching the game at such a pretty venue, and it was a good win for North Carolina.
Yeah, for those of you fans who are watching the game live, you almost probably watched me die from a foul ball that landed about a foot away from my head. Luckily, I ducked and didn't get hit by the net. But Monty came down later. We told him the story, and we're in a very good spot to watch this game. Monty, unbelievable final 2 innings, unbelievable game, just a ridiculous matchup. All the games today were good, but just talk a little bit about that last one a little bit.
It's funny. Somebody came up to me, I think it was Alfred Esmond, who works with World Baseball Network, came up to me, I think in the 5th inning, and it's 2-2. He goes, so what are we thinking? I'm like, the same thing that we thought beforehand. It's 50-50. We're back at, the beginning. And I said, either somebody's going to have to be a hero or somebody's going to make some mistakes. And unfortunately, both kind of happened.
Yep.
But obviously the first thing that happened was some mistakes. And then North Carolina capitalized. And could you imagine? Could you imagine who it could be that would come up with a big hit?
We know who it was.
Yeah.
It was the guy with the C on his chest. And we'll talk more about that when we break down the second game.
Yep.
But it was unbelievable here. Let's talk about the first one, guys. Really good baseball game between Troy and Ole Miss. Troy takes that one 12-8. Home runs galore. We saw Blake Cavill go yard. We saw Janecki go yard. Like, the team that hit the most won today, and that was Troy.
Yeah, I think if you're Ole Miss, you're kind of ask yourself, like, what happened? Because I think going into like the 5th, right before Elliott kind of walked the bases loaded and he had his balk, it kind of felt like everything was going to script. You were up 6-2, your guy was getting deep, you weren't going to the bullpen. It was like, okay, we'll be able to go Townsend on Monday. Like, everything was kind of like shaping up exactly the way you wanted to. And to your point, Troy just kind of kept making hits and tacking on, and Ole Miss just couldn't respond. It was like they built this lead and they just really could never respond once Troy started hitting the gas. So, all the credit to Troy. Like, you could tell how much it meant to them to win this game. You could tell how much it meant, just to the entire program, to see how excited they were. They wanted to send 4 guys to the presser. They were like, it's our first win in program history in Omaha. We're sending all 4. And they were like, oh, we can only keep it to 3. But, they wanted to bring the whole team out there. They probably would have brought the mascot out there if they could have. So, I'm excited for them. I'm excited for the city of Troy. And
the mascot was lurking around outside the press.
I don't even know what their mascot is. I'm going to be
Trojan.
Okay.
Remember, there's a whole. Well, the reason I'm giving you crap is because we had all 3 Trojan mascots in the Super Regionals. Remember, it was a Troy. It was the Trojans versus the Trojans. Because Little Rock was also the Trojans.
And then USC.
But I just love that little quip. And then you reminded me that the mascot was wandering around
he
the press
was
area.
Of course, too, for a little while.
So I just was like, Jason, you might have had something. The mascot wanted to be trotted out for an interview as well.
Non-ball knower, not knowing mascot.
I didn't say that.
Oh, I said myself.
I will say that they were very, very excited. I saw Skylar Meade, probably the most excited I've seen him after a win. Like, he kind of took it in for a minute, and he's looking around, and then he's just, like, giving guys high fives and hugs, and just really happy to be a part of the moment. It was cool to share that with him and be out there and see him get his first win here in Omaha, and Troy get their first win. Unbelievable effort in that first game in. Mike Bianco, tremendous coach. Unbelievable effort by Ole Miss this year. A great season. They just came up a little short.
Yeah, but the big thing, I thought you were leading into great coach, but
no buts. I love Mike. I love Mike.
No. You can love him, and great. Here's the thing: a lot of people don't realize, great coaches still make mistakes, guys. That's everyone's going to make mistakes. And I think people seem to forget that great coaches are still human and can make mistakes. What makes them great is how well they put themselves in position to win and overcome some of those mistakes. But I thought we were going to bring up Townsend. Didn't get into the game. So I thought that's where you were leading up to.
No, the Townsend thing I didn't want to talk about much because one thing, they didn't start Townsend. They didn't pitch the ball. They were looking at how do we win this tournament?
Yep.
How do we win this tournament? And that is to have Cade Townsend go in the next game. And I understood where they were coming from. They had their guys. Hunter Elliott did his job. Guys came out of the bullpen. Walker Hooks has been tremendous this whole season. Unable to get the outs here in Omaha, and it's just uncharacteristic. I think that was the biggest difference there.
It's a lot like Tony Pluto last year. I mean, Tony Pluto was the stopper of the year last year, was the best reliever in the country, and then in Omaha, just baseball being baseball, and it was unlucky, and that's what happened to Walker Hooks this season. And it's so crazy because Ole Miss went from being the co-favorites in the side of the bracket on Friday, going into Friday night, and then 2 days later, less than 48 hours later, they're going home.
Will Mossa is crying somewhere right now with the Tony Pluto reference. I'm just going to throw that out there.
I'm sorry, Will.
And Tony missed the whole season.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well,
So
he was on my fantasy team. He was on my
is punching air, as they say. I think you look at it, and from they always say kind of the armchair quarterback perspective. You say, like, how do you not pitch a guy who's potentially like a first round draft pick? I think a couple of things. One, exactly what you're saying. Like, you're not here to go 1-2. You're here to go 4-1 and then make it to the championship game. Like that's the whole purpose of the 1 game. Like, yeah, you want to feel good. They don't care about a feel good. They won the championship in 22. They want to win another championship. So in essence, like, they're not thinking like, how do we beat Troy? They're thinking, how do we get to beating either West Virginia or North Carolina after we beat Troy?
I get that, but like, you can't face them if you can't beat Troy.
No, agree. But you also have some of the best bullpen arms.
Yeah, that's true. That is fair.
Like,
that is fair.
So here, this is kind of my thought process was if Elliott went out there and he struggled, maybe like he did versus Arkansas, where I think he gave up 6 and 3, or Georgia, where I think he gave up 8 and 2. I think if he had one of those, then yes, you immediately go Townsend. You say, I need you to get 5 innings because I need to get to game 3. But once, I mean, again, it was 6-2 in the 5th and the 6th.
Yeah.
And so effectively, like, everything was going to script. And so at that point, like, you're trying to bridge to get to hooks. So I think everything was going to script. It's just Troy kind of flipped that script a little bit. And then secondarily, like, I mean, we were talking to some of the Ole Miss beat writers. They were like, Townsend's been struggling for a while. Yeah. And I think it's kind of a combination of a lot of these things. And, I think you can always like easily second guess. But for me, I think they kind of made the right decision. And I like it as a competitor because they're basically saying, like, we're not here to go, 1-2. We want to go 4-1. But that's just my opinion.
I get that from both sides. It's just, and once you've laid it out, like, it makes sense. But like,
it's tough when you look at it overall. I mean, there's perspectives on both sides, Monty. I agree with you. I mean, it's first round talent that you didn't get to use in Omaha.
Yeah.
Big game there, though, and tough.
We're going to talk a little bit about Troy, right?
Yeah, we're going to talk about Troy right now. The Trojans
make sure.
are
I got some
moving,
Jabe
and
Boroff.
This team is going. I mean, Jabe Boroff, I brought it up in the press conference. I don't think he knew. He had 21 RBIs so far in the postseason.
Should have been 23.
Should be more. 21 RBIs so far in the postseason, which means that he has 20 RBIs for the first time since Adley Rutschman in a postseason, which is unreal. That means he's on that same level. Jay Boroff is real there, Monty.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, it's Janecki to tie it, obviously, and Jabe Orloff to put him in front. I mean, those are the two guys. If again, we talk about scripts, but we're normally talking about pitching these. What about maybe it was scripted? No, it's good players come up well, and I'm going to let Jason talk about the tying home run because I want to make sure we hear what he has to say.
Well, I mean, Janecki hit the ball real hard, real far. And not only that, I mean, he hit that ball, I think, 112. He also hit a ball 111 that I thought was about to just take you to mark out.
Like neither of those were the hardest hit balls he's hit this weekend.
Literally, like, sometimes when you're watching like football or hockey or some sport and there's like a hit and the whole crowd goes, oh, there was an audible like moan in the crowd after Mark like took the line basically like off the chest.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was.
He was Adam Sandler, 364 more days till hockey season.
Or Micah Butel.
Yeah. Ball was hit real hard. So I do want to say one thing. We were watching in the early morning batting practice. Early morning, I'm midday. Whatever. Apologies. We were watching it, and we were just got done with our podcast, and we were kind of just watching Troy hit. And I saw some of those, and I know Mead throws. I know he throws BP. But what he was doing was he was throwing a low 3/4 slot lefty angle. He was pitching as Elliott in batting practice. It was honestly the coolest thing I've seen because it was basically like, hey, this is exactly what you're going to see out of this pitcher. Arm slot, arm, and everything. Maybe this is something that happens frequently, and I'm just like someone who doesn't see enough of it. But seeing it like up close and personal from a head coach doing it, like it was a pretty cool experience to see some guys saying like, not only I want to like set you up for success, I'm effectively going to show you exactly what you're about to see.
I thought it was tremendous, and I thought that they were well prepared and ready to go. Monty, this team, they took the lead they didn't look back. They go ahead and pour it all the way up to 12. Will Furnace does hit a home run late in that game to kind of make it 12-8. And then you're like, okay, they're within striking distance, but it really felt like it was all Troy at that point. And I really didn't feel like there was any turning back after they got that lead. They just kept building on it and putting more pressure on this Ole Miss team.
You know, it's funny. I believe sources have told me that Troy has lost 31 games this year.
Sources.
But I think that might be some fake news because that Troy team that I saw today. I'm worried for West Virginia, and North Carolina gets at least 2 chances if they have to face Troy. But I'm a little worried for West Virginia with the way Troy's swinging the bat right now, especially, you know, after they got through West Virginia once or got beat by West Virginia once. Can West Virginia beat them again, especially when they seem to be playing even better? I mean, this is just an unbelievable offense. They are batting off the wall. I mean, Jabe Boroff might be hitting 300 by the time the season's over. He entered the postseason batting 185.
185 is how
It
he
was
entered the postseason.
174 after the Miami loss.
Yeah. The guy's unreal. I really love the directions Troy's going. Everybody knows how much we love Troy. We've had Skylar on the show many times. The guy's a stud. It was great to see him get his first win. That's what I'll finish off on that morning game. We'll talk more about them when they get a matchup with the loser of tonight's game, West Virginia, in an unbelievable game, 5-2 win for North Carolina. Jason, we were standing there for almost the entirety of the game, getting to see this thing at field level. It was one of the best games I've seen in Omaha since 2023, probably, with LSU and Wake Forest.
Yeah, there was a lot of suspense. There was pretty much like 2 to 3 like big moments, but it was a lot of like on the edge of your seat, and then maybe kind of like, you know, sitting back and having some popcorn a little bit afterwards. So I mean, like there was a lot of moments of excitement, but I don't know if it kind of like had those jump out moments. Pretty much it was Gavin, and you know when it was off the bat, I was like, oh, you know, Schoenfeld's got that. Like, I mean, we were talking about it, like he'll get there. And it just kept fading and fading.
That is interesting. The angle you guys had being different from mine. We kind of knew right away it was splitting the gap. So we had a different.
Part of me was just kind of like, oh, he's got it, you know.
Well, and after the Tyler Howe one that it went like kept carrying, and he got to that one very easily. Camped under that one for about an hour.
Yeah.
But yeah, I understand that. It's just interesting sometimes the different angles from the on-field view. I mean, that's awesome that you guys were standing down there and be able to see the game, because I know sometimes when I'm down there at the end, it's a little bit crowded, hard to see the field. But I enjoyed every bit of that. I didn't know it was going to happen. West Virginia felt like it took the momentum back after the scratch across runs, but then those momentum killing double plays that UNC is always able to turn. I swear, I've been to 20-ish North Carolina games this year, and I swear I've seen about 8 million double plays turned. Just Gallaher and Schaffner and Cooper Nicholson turning double play after double play after double play. And I think I tweeted out, I said, name a better love story. And I'll give credit to
The Notebook,
to Nick
Anything with Ryan Reynolds, he's dreamy.
Well, Nick Hathcote next to me goes, Georgia and home runs. And I was like, well, I mean, that's not a great response, except to me. That is a fantastic response. So well played for that to Nick Hathcote.
Unbelievable effort tonight, though, from North Carolina. I was shocked that they went to Walker McDuffie. I know that we were talking, Jason, we're like, hey, who do they go to? I'm like, they could go to Glauber.
And
we're like,
McDuffie,
but I said, they got to go McDuffie. And then they pull him out. Lynch, underrated effort for what he was able to do. He did not have his A stuff, and we saw that from the beginning, but he grinded through at bats to keep this team in it. He really worked hard. He got the ground balls when he needed it to. When McDuffie came out there, it really kind of gave a lift to this UNC team. It felt like if he was going to be on, this team's going to be really tough to beat, Jason.
Yeah, you know, actually, when both changes were made, I kind of look at you and be like, oh, I feel like I would have kept him out there for a little bit longer. It was kind of one of those things where they pulled the strings at just the right time, and kind of, you know, I think in the perfect world, they would have liked to have gone Lynch a little bit more than 4.1, 4.2. I can't remember. Yeah, so I think they would have liked to have gotten more, clearly. But at the end of the day, you're looking back on it and you're saying, we've thrown 4 guys in 2 games in the World Series and we're 2-0. And now we've got a little bit of a break before we have to go into that 3rd game. So, you know, they are in the catbird seat, the driver's seat, the whatever seat you want to talk about. They're in a phenomenal position in this side of the bracket. I will say for West Virginia, you know, you come out of this with the loss, but you also have to come out of it with the thought process of, okay, we've also only thrown like 4 guys.
Yeah.
Like we are technically on
Haven't
schedule.
thrown Dawson Montesa yet. They still got arms in that bullpen.
Yeah, and as Saban said after the game, he was like, we only threw Cole like 55 pitches.
55 pitches.
Yeah, so ultimately, like, you have to be going into this and saying, like, okay, yes, we have to go into the losers bracket as we had to do at our own place and come out of it against Kentucky and Wake Forest and get out of that group. But ultimately, like, they still had the arms to be able to do it. This was kind of like my concern with West Virginia. If they were getting into the losers bracket, it'd be like, would they have expended too much at the beginning to be able to come out of it? And I don't think they're there yet. So I think they'll just need a few more big hits. It kind of felt like they kept getting ducks on the pond, as you were talking about, Monty, but they couldn't get the big hit. So I think if they get that big hit and they have the arms, I still feel like they're a live team on this side of the bracket.
So who was your guys' player of the game? Like, there's easy choices in this one, but let's talk about both games here. The morning game, who was your player of the game? For me, it was Blake Cavill. When he hit that home run, it kind of changed the momentum for this Troy team. It felt like they were just going to hang on and win that baseball game. So I'm going Blake this morning. The Aussie did a really big at bat there. And I only had the one hit, but it was a big home run for them.
I actually had more to talk about with North Carolina.
Okay.
I should have tapped you, but I did want to respond to Jason because Jason
Do better, Mark.
point.
Do better.
I tried.
Jason brought up a good point with going to Ryan Lynch. I think he's gone earlier. I've had a couple of moments this year where Scott Forbes has treated some weekend series like a playoff game. And I go back to the Georgia Tech series that they won, the only series that Georgia Tech dropped all year. And Jason DeCaro was kind of cruising.
Yeah.
And he gets to, I think, the 6th inning, and he allows 2 base runners and and that's Forbes immediately goes to Glauber. And that kind of, I think, has set Forbes up to have that kind of confidence and experience to go to that. So I thought it was interesting you brought that up because I've seen it before, and it's interesting to see. Obviously, in this case, it was McDuffie, and we knew McDuffie had to be the guy because he needed to pitch.
Yeah.
And we weren't sure what McDuffie we were going to get, and
they were going to need him at some point this week.
But it's great that they were able to manage the traffic because like you said, their grit when it was really on the line and you were on the edge of your seat, like we talked about with the anticipation, they were able to kind of get out of it. And to your point, West Virginia, we were all concerned about what would happen if Yale didn't go long, and he didn't. And like you said, they're set up really well. But let's talk about my player of the day.
Talk about your player of the day in that morning game.
I am going to go in the morning game. I'm going to go with Janicki.
That run he hit was absolutely smoked. And I'm sure that our guy Judd Udremark is really icing his chest for that second one because that hit him right in the chest.
Yeah.
Jason, who's your player of the game this early morning?
So I am horrible with names. So I have to go the Troy relief pitcher who went 5 innings pitch. Why am I struggling so much with his name? It's hard to say my player of the morning if I can't remember his name. But this is one of the things where you kind of get put on the spot. You try to do your best, but sometimes you just forget. I'm just going to say that.
And by the way, we're using Jason's phone to stream this, so he's not able to.
Oh, I don't care. I mean, people can say ball number. I don't mind. Ultimately, I know this was his second longest stint of the year.
Oh, you're talking about the long-term Thigpen?
Thigpen.
Okay.
You knew that the whole time, didn't you?
I thought you were looking for Crotchfeld.
No, Crotchfeld was
No,
yesterday.
no.
2 days ago. He threw today again?
Crotchfeld threw
I completely forgot. I completely missed that.
Thigpen
was the one that.
Yeah, because Tommy Egan started.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Thigpen goes 5.
Yeah, me talked about it. He's like, we played like shit at the beginning, and he was like, we were missing spots, we were running balls down, we weren't running to the bags hard. Like they were doing all of the kind of the small things. He's like, we had guys who were maybe like thinking too highly of themselves. He's like, we had to bring them down a little bit. And I think Thigpen is one of those guys who basically like bridged that gap because they had the beginning where there was a little bit of a struggle. He came in, he pitched those 5 innings, and really like. Again, like Ole Miss was in cruise control, and he just kind of like threw them on ice, and they didn't really get anything, and they got them to the late innings where they were able to go to Crotchfeld. And again, like here's our Forrest Gump champion of the day. He just had to pee. If you didn't see it in the post presser, he mentioned that as he was coming out in the 8th inning, he was glad that he was able to get out of it because he just really had to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, he was like, I had to go pee really bad, so I had to step off the mound and get that last out. We're like, geez, that's just a baseball, dude. Love it.
I've been there.
The evening game. Who's your guys' MVP or best player or X factor, whoever you want to name, Monty, whatever you want to call it? Who's the guy that was most important for you in that evening game?
Scott Forbes.
Okay.
I'm going to go with a little.
Not a player.
He didn't even say player
I
this
didn't
time.
say player
He
this
didn't
time.
this time.
Apologies.
But yeah, I mean the implication, because of the implication. No, I'm gonna go Scott Forbes. He pushed all the right buttons today. Once again, I mean even with the sack bunt that ended up not working, that's more of a outstanding play. And we talked about that
Phenomenal play
live
by
by Gavin Kelly, who I think a lot of people don't understand how hard that play is to make and get that out, because you got to throw with conviction. You've got to throw it fast like a shortstop, and that's the benefit of having a shortstop, middle infielder, play catcher. I guess
exactly what I looked at Jason and Avery, and I go, that's why when you have a shortstop behind the dish, you can make that play. Otherwise, you don't get to make that play.
But Forbes goes to Lynch maybe a little bit earlier than the rest of us would, and it pays off. McDuffie battles and grinds out, and then he gets in a little bit of trouble, and he goes to Glauber. And Glauber, at first you're like, oh no, it's 3-1 count. It's the freshman. There's the tying run at the plate, and he just drops his balls on the field. Metaphorically, people, get your head out of the gutter, and just shows that he's one of the best freshmen in the country, up there with anybody. And forget freshmen, one of the best pitchers in the country.
He's probably the best 18-year-old in the country. Let's just say that. He's the best 18-year-old baseball player in the country right now. Jason, who's your X factor?
I mean, you have to go McDuffie. Like honestly, like
a huge shift. Yeah.
But he
Again,
put McDuffie in, so clearly I'm better. No.
I'm just saying.
Players got to play. Players got to produce. They're 18 to 22-year-old guys. They still got to do something.
22, being generous. 23.
Yeah. So
26 if you're Hunter Elliott.
Omaha, gentlemen, is all about bridging the gap, and I'll mind the gap, as the Brits would say.
It's World Cup time.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's in the U.S. though, so go USA. For me, this is if you're going to try to play the NC State LSU way, where you've got 4 to 6 pitchers, and you're like, we're not going to go anyone else. You have to be able to get length from effectively everybody. And so if they were to go McDuffie there, and let's say he shits the bed,
Struggles, and where do they go to?
what do they do?
Yeah.
And then
Matthias, probably.
They probably would have still gone
I think they would have
Glauber.
gone Glauber. I think they would have. Yeah.
And then he's pretty much burned for Wednesday, because then you've stacked 2, but then they might go with him again. Who knows? But
Especially, and nothing against Troy, but Troy may be a little bit light on pitching now.
Yeah.
Ole Miss, they still have a first rounder that hasn't thrown yet, so they're probably looking at it and saying, okay, well, we've got West Virginia and Troy. Neither of them really have like great pitching depth. And so we have to win this game. So I agree with you. I think if he shits the bed, they probably will, but he didn't. He bridged that gap. He got it to where they could bring in Glauber with only like 2 outs remaining, and he can just throw, as Forbes said, cheese. I love that. They just set cheese on practice.
We've gotten some outstanding coaching quotes all weekend from everybody.
Fantastic. My X factor is going to be actually the losing pitcher, Max Yale. He put forward a heck of an effort and tried to keep his team in that ball game. The 2 errors and then the big hit by Gallaher were what the difference maker was. But he kept them in that baseball game. After giving up 2 runs early, he went out there and just gritted through 7 2/3 innings. Really opportunity to give his guys just that chance to be in that baseball game all the way till the end. I really liked his effort.
And save guys
both in arms. I mean, he literally saved. I mean, and Sabes talked about it after the game. He goes, "Hey, he gave us every opportunity to win. We just didn't take advantage of it today. We're going to do that in the next time that he pitches." And it's tremendous.
And it's interesting, if West Virginia somehow comes out of this like they did in the regional, you're going to look back to Max Yale's performance tonight as the kind of jumping off point because of what he did. If he doesn't do that, and they have to go to a more important reliever earlier on, that kind of isn't able to pitch another day, that's going to be a problem. So we can't overstate that enough at this stage. So I just wanted to tack onto that for you.
Yep. So they do take on Troy on Tuesday or Monday.
Tuesday. Both elimination games will be
Tuesday. And then let's talk about tomorrow's games, guys. Just real briefly here, we're going to pick some winners and some important parts of that one. So the morning game tomorrow, Monty, who do you got in that one? It is
Texas. Thank you, Texas.
And Alabama.
I was trying to remember who Alabama was playing because I was like, I wish
Alabama and Texas.
I really want to.
So we're going to see Zane Adams versus Rio Riojas.
Yeah, and Zane Adams did pitch 6 shutout, if I recall correctly, against Texas earlier this season.
He did throw a fantastic, probably his best effort of the season.
The problem I'm having is Alabama going to hit at all?
I don't know.
And I really want to pick them. And again, part of it's also because, again, everyone's going to pick Texas to kind of they're going to expect a rematch with Georgia, but that's not guaranteed. Just like that Ole Miss.
Ruger struggled before.
Right. And I'm going to go with Texas because I just don't know if Alabama's going to be able to to score enough runs, man. Even if Zane Adams is fantastic and they get something out of there, are they going to have to shut out or allow just one run against Texas to win this ball game?
It's really tough. Jason, what's your thoughts on this one?
For the morning one, I agree. I have to go Texas, and it's not that I don't think Alabama can't win. I don't think this is one of those kind of inevitabilities. I think it's just one of the things where Texas is really, really good. They have an offense, and I mean, Tenney wants to go out there and show that, exactly. He wants to go out there and show that he is that All-American that everybody knows that he is. And again, you have Ruger Riojas. They have two of the best pitching, they have two of the best closer and like bridge guys in the SEC. So they're going to be able to throw the entire arm barn at them, and they'll be able to swing the bat. So this feels like it has been a tournament of who gets the crooked number in the first inning. It feels like whoever is getting that has generally been the team that has gone on to win. So I think it's going to be kind of the same thing. Or will they be able to get to Zane Adams quickly? Or will they be able to get to Ruger Riojas quickly? Because kind of on the flip side of that is like, does Texas really want to go to a long reliever quickly? Like, how do they want to bridge that? If Ruger's not there, how quickly do they pull him? So I think there's
do they go to Harrison right away and say, hey, instead of seeing what just happened to Ole Miss, do they switch and go, we're going to throw our game 3 starter?
Exactly. So I think it's the exact same thing I was talking about with Elliott. So if Ruger really struggles, my assumption is Elliott may be, and Harrison may be in the pen. I said Elliott. Harrison may be in the pen, just basically like until like inning 2. Yeah. And if they're like, hey, we're going to get him to at least inning 4, it's like, all right, no, never mind. We're not going to use you.
We got other guys now.
Jace, I'm going to need you to cease and desist.
That was a movement.
I'm gonna need you.
I just literally, I creaked.
I believe you, but it's hysterical.
It did sound like a fart.
Yeah.
I don't know if the mics picked
Based on your reaction, I believe you.
It was a leak.
It was his reaction, but this is lovely.
Cease and desist because arm is trademarked by the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. If you go on their Twitter, it is trademarked.
It is 100% not trademarked because everyone and their dog uses it. Continue.
No.
I'm going to go with Texas as well. And I think it's like a 70-30 mix here. I think that Texas offense is going to come through a little bit more than they did. And Volchko, once-in-a-lifetime performance that he put forward here. I know Wes Johnson said he's going to have many more of those in his career. It's really hard to do what he just did. Like, that was ridiculous.
Does not believe that you will have more of those.
I do.
That's what it is.
I'm just saying that's a once-in-a-lifetime to do it here in this stage in game 1 at this.
I was going to say, that's a bold,
no,
that's just a rude statement.
like that. I mean, maybe he does it in game 1 of the championship series. I don't know. But here's the thing. I think Texas is going to hit better. I think that we're going to see more of Aiden Robbins. I think we're going to see more of
Have we heard about Ethan Mendoza?
We have not heard a single thing about Mendoza. And I don't expect that we will until they're here in the game in the ballpark and we're going to see. I'll get eyes on them tomorrow. I don't think we're going to see anything or hear anything. Let's talk about game 2. This is a big game. Oklahoma, the hottest team in the country, facing maybe the second hottest team in the country or the hottest team in the country. Your choice. Georgia and Oklahoma in this one. And Georgia has said that they're going to throw Aoki. Oklahoma hasn't stated, but it's got to be Xander, right? It's got to be Xander Mercurius.
Plot twist is Cam Johnson.
Yeah, no, it's got to be Xander. So
Cam, but I don't think.
No, there's just no way. Cam has the ability.
Yeah.
So when Cam can throw his fastball and his slider, but frankly, right now all he has is he's had only his fastball the past like 3 to 4 starts. And when he's able to spot both from his arm angle, when he's pumping like 95 with run, he's incredibly difficult to hit. But most of the time, you could just kind of put a lawn chair out there and let him get 4 balls and then walk to first. So I would be very surprised if they don't go Xander, because again, that would kind of, like, let's say he struggles.
Yeah.
Then you kill your bullpen, which again, Oklahoma doesn't have a very deep bullpen. So you have to go the guy that you can at least hope to get you 4 innings. Because Camden, he got 3 batters in Atlanta.
3 batters.
So yeah, I'm definitely thinking Xander.
3 batters, 12 pitches, 2 strikes. Both strikes went 400 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So who are you going with, Monty?
I mean, I can. Everything screams Georgia, right? I mean, I'm trying to think of a way that I can pick Oklahoma, and I'm going to. But I don't.
I know you would.
But contrarian.
But everything screams Georgia. Jason just talked about about the Alabama game, and he's like, I'm not saying they can't win. It's not like inevitable. It certainly feels inevitable in terms of Georgia going to 2-0 here, right? That being said, baseball is going to baseball, right? So that's the only reason I can give you.
Skip
why
Johnson
I'm
knows how to
picking-
get the championship.
Yeah, and why I'm going to pick Oklahoma. But Georgia, everything screams Georgia. They're going to hit the ball, and they're going to have the wind will probably be helpful, I imagine, because the wind
It was not hurtful tonight, and I
Right.
think that is going to be in the huge favor of
Yep,
Georgia
so,
against this Oklahoma.
You know,
Open.
I'm picking Oklahoma, but conventional wisdom says I'm an idiot.
I'm going Georgia hard. I don't even think I think this is probably the toughest game that Oklahoma's going to have faced. And I know that they faced Georgia Tech's lineup. I know that they had to beat them twice. But
it's
this
in Omaha,
Georgia,
too,
this
and-
Georgia lineup is just ridiculous. And I think that the pressure being a game 2 starter here and Xander, another freshman. Cord was great. Now they got to turn to another freshman. And so I'm going all Georgia here.
Well, and with the context, I mean, just to defend your statement there, in case it's you don't have the benefit of the other team having all this pressure that Georgia Tech had at the time. So
100%.
so you got to remember when you take that into account. If anyone wants to cry about the Georgia Tech thing, but yeah, this is the toughest team that Oklahoma will have faced in this tournament while they've been red hot.
Yep. Agreed. How about yourself, Jason?
I mean, I don't think you overthink it too much. I think you go Georgia. But a question for you all is like, what does Oklahoma need to do to win this game? Because this is what I've kind of like tried to ask myself. Because like mentally, I know there are obviously many different scenarios that could lead to an Oklahoma win. Clearly, they beat Georgia Tech twice in Atlanta, so clearly they have the talent. But I'm just trying to think of like the scenarios that would create that. So you have
30
Aoki.
mile an hour wind in, 30 mile an hour wind blowing straight in and scoring on Aoki in the first couple innings.
But I mean, like they had a wind blowing in against Texas, and they scored 7. So I mean,
Texas helped.
yeah, Texas had some errors for sure.
Clean.
But I think ultimately, I think what they'll need is, I think they'll need to get to Aoki quickly.
Yep.
I think you can do that. So Aoki, he'll not like mow you down. He's just gonna throw 4 to 5 pitches, all for strikes. Pretty much, he's kind of like the college version of a little Greg Maddux out there, because he's gonna throw 88 to 91, and he's gonna throw 5 different kinds of pitches, and he's gonna try to get you to roll it over, and maybe try to get you to like.
How many people got to Greg Maddux though?
Not a lot. Not a lot.
So that's.
I'm not calling him Greg Maddux. Like, don't get me
You
wrong.
were saying the college version,
Yeah.
so that's all I was.
Yeah,
I got you.
He doesn't throw hard. Maybe that's what I
My
should have said.
apologies, Jason, for messing that up.
No. You heard it well. So I think you'll need to get to Aoki, and I think that they're going to need at least maybe 1 to 2 big hits. I don't know what's going on. Okay.
Sounds coming
So-
over there.
It always does.
Yeah, it always does.
Having to keep it quiet because it keeps coming out of there.
But ultimately, it's Georgia.
Yeah, I mean, it's Georgia all the way. So, any final thoughts, fellas, on tonight's games or what we're going to see tomorrow?
Well, I was going to answer Jason's question. I mean,
Dive into it.
Xander Mercurius and LJ having the games of their lives.
I mean, that could
back
work.
to back.
That could work.
help.
Brotherly love?
I mean,
back to back.
how cool a story would that be? It's very unlikely, but I mean, again, if we're talking,
Oh my God! Look, the number of brother stories tomorrow. They're gonna
So
put
many
like
brother
the Mercurius brothers, the Branch brothers.
and I'm a sucker for those stories. And
How many times do you think they're gonna show their parents? Do you think they're gonna have like a split jersey, and they're like maybe they'll like have a dad on one side and mom on the other, and the mom will be wearing one color and the dad will be wearing that's my guess. That's my guess.
I want to gamble on it.
I'll throw pop.
I'm
just kidding.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna say dad's wearing Oklahoma, mom's wearing Georgia. That's my guess.
I like that guess.
What if they're both wearing Alabama or Oklahoma?
If they're
both
wearing
like-
Alabama,
Would they chosen a favorite son?
We need to check
That's
the
the
camera
story.
because they found the wrong family.
That's the story. Instead of the baseball game, Branch family chooses favorite son.
They're both wearing Alabama and they're standing next to Nick Saban. Who are these people?
I thought your kid played for Oklahoma and Georgia. Like, what are you? Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there are going to be a lot of brother stories. They're going to shove it into the ground. I'm going to enjoy every bit of them though.
I can't wait. Jason, any final thoughts as we head into tomorrow's tremendous games of day 4 of the College World Series?
I'm tired. I think I've talked a lot of baseball and I'm out of things to say.
We have
Not
talked
true.
a lot
Not
of
even
baseball.
true.
I can't wait, folks. We're going to join you again tomorrow morning. We're going to be here live on the field. We're going to break down these games even more.
Monty's last thoughts?
That's why I started with him.
I'm fine with it. I'm good with it.
Yeah, I started with Monty. I
No,
started
I
with Monty.
didn't get them, but I'm good with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't have any thoughts. We're
Yeah.
good. Thanks for joining us, folks. We'll see you guys in the morning as we do another live show here from the stadium. As you guys have seen, lots of backdrop. And remember, if you guys have not used it yet, use our code JBB at Homefield Apparel. Wear one for the home team. Tons of College World Series gear. Look at that Syracuse
This is not
jersey.
home field, but go Syracuse.
But there's a lot of home field gear that has Syracuse.
yeah,
so
I
go
was
get
gonna say
it.
home field. Yeah, Syracuse baseball.
Use
I
our
mean,
code JBB, get 20% off your first order there. Thanks, guys. And go check out everything also from 6-4 Analytics, as we have tons and tons and tons of news coming out. So keep an eye on all that. I know that all of our folks have been tweeting out all the news of all the transfer portal stuff. So keep an eye on it, folks. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning as we end the live stream.